Yeah, like Ben said, I'm hoping that this, gives you guys some things to think about, how to enhance your processes. So I'm Jim Schweitzer, like Ben said, with Vision Point Systems. Been living in the communication software world for almost 15 years now. So it's kind of exciting to bridge that history with my work I've been doing with Appian. Like I said, Brian is with Twilio. You want to give a brief intro?
Yep, my name is Brian Coyle. I work for Twilio. I run our expert services group, which helps people get up and running on the Twilio platform faster. I am based in the Washington, D.C. area as well, and I've spent my career in the contact center and web development space, which is kind of what we'll be talking about and how Twilio merges those worlds.
Yeah, so this is going to be a very active session, so I'll have some brief slides to kind of just go over the concept, and then I'm going to dive right into some real-world implementation, give you some hands-on, both from seeing how the users can experience this within the processes, and then dive to some details behind the scenes, and probably have some time for questions at the end. So the background, I've been working with Appian going on 5 years now, I think, and with Appian and BPM, it's traditionally you've got your users in front of their web browser doing work. You do a lot of the work through the web forms, and with Appian, that can take the form of tempo. And I think the experience has been enhanced recently with things like sites to kind of bring a more focused interface into Appian. But that's still kind of primarily the way everybody thinks of working with Appian is within your web browser. And then with Appian specifically, I think one of the reasons I like Appian is because of the integrated mobile and the native experience, and so that's also a very top-level part of the Appian user flow. So that said, things where Appian has extended beyond that. A couple years ago, they introduced embedded interfaces, which brought the primary screen, brought it into third-party applications, which was a good step to kind of expand the footprint of what Appian can do. You can also think of email as an interface. Appian can send and receive email, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to do to control, especially trying to deal with Wild West emails coming into Appian. It's not that it's a challenge, but it's possible. But I think the real step that Appian's taken, and we learned a lot about it last year with the 16.2 release and writable APIs, is that brings a whole new structured integration, and that's what we're going to leverage here today to show these new enhanced user experiences. So I like that, we've been kind of hearing this as a theme, the whole conference. I think it's appropriate being in San Francisco. It's this tech center, it's this hub. We see a lot of this Internet of Things going on. I think this kind of fits within that whole theme. I look at things like DevOps and orchestration of processes as being, the movement that's happening. And so this is just another extension of that and a specific application of how you guys can use Appian to make that happen. And if you look at what it is, it moves from user-based processes to event-driven processes. I think that's the fundamental piece behind what Internet of Things is. It's that step forward. Appian's been great for user-driven processes. Now we can open the world for event-driven processes. And I got some examples of some other common companies you can think of around that topic. So a little bit more about Vision Point. So like I said, we've been doing this about 15 years. We got started as an IVR company, basically, interactive voice response. You think of your automated phone systems, your bank by phone, your phone surveys. This is where we got started. The world of IVR was dramatically different, 15 years ago than where it is today. I got started dealing with servers and putting dialogic boards into servers, and then having server racks with T1 drops, and it was a mess. It was a lot of work. It was expensive. It didn't scale well. You had to deal with telecoms, which are if there's one thing that Twilio does is deal with the telecoms. That invaluable. But anyway, all that to say, it's a different world. And when Twilio came around about 7 years ago, they really kind of turned that whole industry on its head, and they've been doing some great things. We've built a few systems outside of Appian, just traditional telephony applications. We've got some examples of, we have an IVR that we use for clinical trials, managing a randomization system that leverages Twilio for the voice communications piece. We've been doing messaging apps. So Twilio goes beyond just voice. It's also messaging. So SMS. It's kind of that whole piece has come into it as well. There's a lot of decisions and process that gets driven by SMS. So we're going to show some of that today too. But we have SMS-driven apps. We have a system that we work with called TrekMedics Beacon that was developed by a nonprofit that uses SMS messaging to orchestrate third world country emergency medical response where there's no 911 systems. We've got basically a do-it-yourself, almost like an Uber for do-it-yourself ambulances. That's driven by SMS messaging. So we've got a good history of that. So like I said at the beginning, what we're trying to do is leverage that experience and bring it into what we're doing with Appian. I love my IVR robot. It's the other piece of that comes into this, and the other evolution I think has been the emphasis on design that comes into it. As the industry has matured, as you get over the hurdles of technology and dealing with you don't have to deal with the boards and the servers and the T1s anymore. Companies can now start to design good IVR experiences. And I think this is you take away the mess, you end up with good quality. And so one of the where I'm trying to bring that into Appian is with customer-driven processes. And some of the lessons we learned from designing IVR is you do something called intent-driven processes. What does the user want to do? And you put that front and center. And that's a concept that came out of working with IVR over the years. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Brian, and he can give you a little bit more background on Twilio.
Great, thanks, Jim.
Yep.
So Twilio is a platform. We're not an application. We are just a platform. And we are a platform all around communications, voice, messaging, video, authentication, wireless. We are tools for developers to build communications into their business processes, into their data. That's what we do. Over the course of, we started in 2008, and we've really, our customers are the developers, the builders, the people that are writing the code or writing the business process to drive communication, and we've had great success in reaching that market. We have over 1 million developers on the platform, 90,000 paying customers. We did 75 billion API requests last year. We have over 500,000 developer apps. We do 1.5 SMS messages a month and 1 billion voice minutes a month. So our platform is built to scale. It is, again, we focus on being that platform. So if you walked in here and don't know what Twilio is, you have probably used this before. If you have ever taken an Uber and communicated with your Uber driver, that's through us, through the messaging, through the phone calls. Paid for parking with a meter and gotten the notification, that's us. Walmart, daily deals, that's through our platform. Box for authentication, two-factor authentication, Twilio. And receiving those receipts from your Square payment, Twilio. So all of those things have one thing in common. It's all powered by software. It's all powered by these business processes that you're going through. The business process of hailing a cab is we embed the communication within that process because we have the context. And you guys know about this in BPM. It's all about the context. You have the context to move an item through a workflow. And it's all about communication. So what we really want to do is personalize these business processes. And we can do that just think about what it used to be like hailing a cab. You call up the dispatch. They have no idea who you are. They don't know where you are. You sit there, you wait. Think about how long it's going to take. to call back. You call back, they don't know who you are again, and they don't know where your cab is. But now, when you embed the communication into that business process with the context, like Uber does, now when my phone rings and the Uber driver says, "Hey Brian, I'm across the street." Okay, great. That is a business process that is made better by communication with context. So overall, we're really three things. At the core, we are a simple, powerful API. If you check out our website, we have great documentation on it. It's just one HTTP post and you're sending a message. 2, we're a super network. To get to the scale I talked about, we have a huge global network that can handle APIs to that scale that I talked about. And then 3, we're a business model for innovators. So you can go home, sign up for a Twilio account today. It's free. You can get a number for $1, send a message for 3/4 of a penny, and start playing with putting in messaging or voice into your, like Jim's going to show you, and open up new lines of business for you or your customers. But this is a business model for innovators. It's pay as you go. There is no license fee. We don't lock you in. It's just sign up, pay for what you use, and scale. We have 90,000 customers, some big logos on here. Yeah, we work with some of the biggest customers. And that's Twilio.
Thanks, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the background of kind of where we're coming from with this. So I'm going to dive into the specific examples. So what my team has built, thanks Jamal, who's in the audience, one of the lead developers behind this application. I built a sample insurance application in Appian, just a simple create a quote, convert a policy, file claims, track your claims system. So this is kind of going to give us the vehicle to experience where the different communication processes can enter the workflows. So communications can be inbound or can be outbound. So I'm going to show an example of both with voice as well as messaging. So for inbound message, we're going to actually start a process via a picture message or a text message. It's actually going to start a process. For IVR or for inbound voice, we're going to have an automated IVR that's powered directly by Appian using an Appian process model and some web APIs. For outbound, we're going to do a dialing application that's going to be integrated into a sale form, so you can immediately connect from the Appian user to the end customer. And then we're going to show some examples of real-time notifications as well, so through text messaging, much like we do with email or tempo posts and things like that today. So that's what we're up against. So I've enlisted my friend Christine to be my plant in the audience here today. So she's going to help us through the process. So again, submitting a claim via an MMS. So this, again, not limited to this insurance case. This is our example. And it's not necessarily going to be completely realistic, but we'll go through it. So the case I have is I'm a customer. I'm already registered as a customer. Christine's an established policyholder within our insurance application, but now she's going to submit a claim. So Christine, you want to go ahead? Oh, great. You want to go ahead and just, if you can send a picture message, that would be awesome. I have to give you a number, don't I? Yeah. It is 540 318 1956. And so So, like Brian said, this is a number that we've purchased through Twilio. Or I guess technically we're probably leasing it. I don't know what you guys consider, but it's a number that Twilio has owns and that we have privilege to use. So, so she's going to send a text. I'm going to drop down to Appian. Okay, sure. All right. So she got an acknowledgement. Now, if I'm logged into Appian as an agent, an insurance agent, I'm going to refresh my task list. And now I see this guy just hit my car. Oh, no. So Christine's got a problem. Let me see what's going on here. So I'm going to go into my task. I see it's from my demo user. And if I scroll down, I should see the picture that came through. So, yeah, yes. So that's pretty awesome. So we'll go into a little bit of detail. So actually, what that is am I going to be okay switching back and forth here? Let's see. So what that is a web API. Oh my gosh. There we go. Let's go to that. So what that is it's a web API that's handling the request from Twilio. So you sent that text message, it hit Twilio. Then we built a post web API that uses the A-bang start process function that Appian introduced last year to kickstart a process. And we're basically, Twilio sends a bunch of metadata along with that API request. And that's where I can do things like parse the text message. I can see the from number. We actually do right now with this example, we're doing a customer lookup based on the registered cell phone number, so we know what customer it belongs to. That's probably a tricky part of this whole thing. In reality, is how do you match the customer and do security? But anyway, you get the point with this. So again, this is all possible because Twilio has a standards-based REST API that will hook into Appian, and again, it's only possible because Appian introduced the writable web APIs last year. So anyway, so if I go back into Appian, I'm going to complete this this claim. Actually, I can't complete this claim. Oh, great! I see. This is awful. Poor Christine. I need to find out what's happening here. So the next part of our demo is the outbound call. So I've got an integrated button here that's going to automatically bridge to my phone. My cell phone's going to act like a desk phone, or I could do soft phones as well. But I'm going to hit this button, call customer. So it's going to call my cell phone, and it's going to connect to Christine. So my phone is ringing. This is just the initial connection, so I'm going to wait a second. Now Christine's is going to ring. Hi, Christine. I understand you had an incident. Care to tell me more? So we bridged together with outbound voice communication initiated from within a sale component within the browser. So what's going on there? So case 2 again, the automated call. Great, hooray for Internet Explorer. Good thing I was using Chrome. Yeah. All right, so behind the scenes there, it's actually pretty simple as well. So the button in the sale form that said call customer is hooked up to an A-bang start process smart service that's calling a process model. And within that process model, I have a make phone call node. Now this is available in a plugin, and this has actually been out there on forum for a while now. It's just free to download, and all it's going to do is basically encapsulate the REST API that Twilio released. They do a great job taking that REST API and putting out helper libraries. So in this case, I used a Java helper library for Twilio and integrated that into the plugin framework for Appian and built a smart service out of it. So basically, it takes a to number, a from number, and then a URL to instruct the call what to happen. So again, pretty cool, a new kind of technique that maybe not everybody's been exposed to within Appian to do the start process, but this is a good example of when you might need to do something like that within the sail form. So awesome. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and complete this form. I understand the details of the incident now. We'll say it was yesterday, 2 a.m. Yeah. Somebody else was responsible. Jerk. Nature of the incident, let's say car wreck. You the sole owner? Let's say yes. Do you have any other insurances? No. With the police? Yes. I don't like this mouse on this keyboard. Police report number 2. Let's say 3,000, and I'm claiming 3,000. Okay, awesome. So Christine, you also got a claim number when you submitted that, right?
I did.
So claim number 352-191-878. Oh, right.
Yep.
Okay, great. So now we have a submitted claim. So the the next feature of this is going to be the inbound voice part of it, so the IVR. And this is fun, and I'll probably leave some time for questions to go over this in a lot of detail at the end. But why don't you go ahead and call that phone number that you text? I don't know if we'll be able to hear it. Might have to borrow my mic.
Hello, you have reached the BPS Insurance Company.
Can you guys hear that?
For information about a quote, press 1. For information about a policy, press 2. To file a new claim or check status of a claim, press 3. To speak to a customer. To file a new claim, press 1. To hear information about your current claim, press 2. To redirect to your current. Please enter your claim ID.
So I'm gonna enter it 352.
Your claim was filed on April 5th, 2017. The status of your claim is submitted. The nature of your claim incident was car wreck. Your total loss was $3,000. And your amount claimed is $3,000. Press 1 to hear this again.
So there we go. So that's a typical IVR. The really cool part about this is it's 100% driven by Appian. And by that, I mean, where'd it go? So we've defined the entire flow, we've defined the entire bit of logic within an Appian process model. So I've got so if you basically can imagine, I don't know if you guys have ever worked with IVR before, you know, the call flow is kind of the key to life in terms of defining the tree of, you know, the different branches that go down and the lookup objects and when you do queries and playback, things like that. So what I've been able to do with Twilio and with Appian is basically represent a call flow within a process model. There's a few tricks that go into here, but basically it relies on a couple of analytics reports to get the real-time status of the process. It uses ABAN complete task to move between the nodes of you know, the UI nodes that are in this process model are, you know, they represent the different prompts where we're waiting for user input. And so the main kind of driver behind this whole thing is web APIs again. So every time we submit a response through Twilio, through the IVR, it will call a web API that does complete task and then moves the task along the way. So I can actually trace every individual caller's flow through this by looking at the process models. So That's pretty cool. Was not possible until, again, a year ago when the writable APIs came out. Okay, so then the fourth thing is the text notifications. We've already seen some example of that. Don't know if this actually crashed or not. So I'm logged in this browser as an adjuster. See if I can reload. Car wreck. So here's my claim. So I'm going to start my review. Guy hit my car. Here's my picture from the claim that got sent from the agent to the adjuster. And I'll go ahead and approve it with the reason of sounds legit. I'm a very thorough adjuster. I'm going to go ahead and submit this. And now she's going to get the text message that says the claim was approved. That's a pretty simple use case. Again, it's pretty on par with sending emails or posting events to feeds and whatnot. It's just another tool you're at your toolbox for push notifications, basically. So again, it's all possible because of another smart service that's in the Twilio utilities plugin. Again, it's available on forum. Again, using the REST APIs from Twilio. So cool. So that's about it. So again, I wanted to give, my whole goal here was to guys give you some things to think about. Your Appian can go beyond the browser in terms of putting your communications into the hands of your end users and potentially even go into the realm of talking to public users. It's not something that's typically ever done with Appian. You've got those named users. Well, this can give you a potential reusable vehicle for communicating with people who aren't actually named Appian users. So there's a lot involved in obviously security and whatnot, and didn't really get into a whole lot of that today, but it's something to think about. But I think the idea of including your customers directly in your processes is a great opportunity. So
well, we can take some questions, but first, Brian and Jim, thank you very much.
thanks.
We do have a few minutes here. Are there any questions anybody would like to ask? Sure. Hold on 1 second. I'd like to get it on the mic.
Yeah, I just wanted to check, like, you have mentioned this plugin is available on the forum. So do you have any sample application, the same one which we can use to check one time before implementing in real world in our scenarios?
That's a good question. We're working on submitting this to the app market. It's not out there yet. Sometime within the next few months, I would expect that to be posted. You guys can always contact me directly if you want to, just validate what you're doing. I'm happy to give some advice, directly as needed. I'll give you my card after the thing.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
What about language skills? Probably only speaks English with English accent, or?
Yeah. So you want to take that? The
Could it speak
language
French?
support?
Or?
Yeah.
I don't have off the top of my head the number of languages, but yeah, we support through our text-to-speech engine. I'm sorry, I don't have off the top of my head how many languages, but we do.
They are several.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyone else? Any other questions? All right, well, I know that both these gentlemen would be happy to talk to you some more privately. Thank you again, all of you, and thank you two very much.